Well, I'm here back out on the towpath today, standing at Gas Street Basin in Birmingham. It's a very interesting place. Love the mix of bars and old warehouses, etc. I'm going to start today's walk here at Gas Street Basin and then head along the Birmingham Main Line up to Smethwick Galton Bridge about here. I also want to explore the Oozells Street Loop here, the Ickneild Port Loop here, and then the Soho Loop I will be exploring next week with Taz from the Canal and River Trust. And I'll also want to explore the engine arm here. The tap and spile. It's a shame it's in the morning. I'll have to come back and go into that one. The gin vault. That sounds good to me. That's Broad Street, Black Sabbath Bridge. The Malthouse pub, another good pub. I've been in there several times over the years. This is a really nice stretch of canal. Just about to head down onto Oozells Street Loop. It's one of the small loops, the first one. Oozells Street Loop, I think it is. This is Oozells Street Loop, which now houses a boatyard and some moorings. It's a nice quiet spot. Off the main drag. This bit looks like it's gated off. I won't be able to continue on that part. I'll have to go back and carry on the main bit. But at least I've seen the loop part of it. Maybe I could go up there. I don't know. I don't want to waste much time. I'm going to head back to the main path and then carry on along the main line. It's really good to be back out on the towpath. It's been a couple of weeks. Been quite busy, had various things going on. So it's taken me a bit of time to get back out, but you know, I think that's just going to be the way of it for a while, and that's okay. You know, this isn't a race. This is more like a marathon. Pacing myself, fitting it in around my normal daily life. This bit just coming up on the left is the other side of that Oozells Street Loop where it rejoins the main line. Just here, I think. Yeah, it's gated and chained. Made the right decision. Look at the old roundhouse. One of the things I really like about Birmingham is the architecture and the history of it all. There's lots of people using the towpath here for dog walking. It looks like walking on the way to work, and plenty of people jogging and cycling as well. So even in the city, the Canal towpath is used for many things. And it's quite surprising actually, even though we're in the middle of a city, it still has that kind of feeling of being outside in nature. Thin corridor of green and blue, running like an artery through the city. And it's quite fascinating. That old chimney. Lots of industrial history here. We're coming up to a couple of loops in a minute. One, I'm not convinced there's a towpath there, and the other one is the Soho Loop, and I'll be walking during the week next week with Taz from Canal and Rivers Trust again, and we're going to be tackling the Soho Loop together. It's his this is his patch. He lives around here somewhere, and he regularly uses that towpath for exercise and just getting some fresh air and improving mental health. I've been looking forward to tackling the Birmingham Main Line. It's a very different kind of vibe to the Stratford upon Avon Canal, as you can tell. And it's been good to be able to squeeze in between the Stratford upon Avon Canal, which I've just finished, and the Worcester and Birmingham Canal, which I'll be tackling next in October with a group of friends. So yeah, it's definitely a different vibe. We're just approaching that loop, I think, on the left. This is Ickneild Port Loop, which acts as a feeder from the reservoir there. And on the maps it doesn't seem to indicate a towpath, so I think it might be another point where I can't actually walk. I think maybe if you're on a boat it might be alright, but I'm not, and that's a shame because I wanted to walk all the loops in arms. I guess I'm just going to have to walk the ones that I can walk, and the ones I can't walk I'm just going to have to ignore. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any opportunity to walk this loop. I think in the distance there you can probably see the sign over there. I think that might be the beginning of the Soho Loop. This is the course of the Soho Loop, and as I said, I'll be walking that with Taz next week. So I'm going to carry on past, heading for Smethwick Galton Bridge, which will be the end point for today. Lots of developments going on in various places around here. Some guy's just gone past on a bike blasting out Black Sabbath music. At least he's got a good taste in music. I think under this bridge on the left is where that loop ends and rejoins the Birmingham Main Line here. And across the water there is the start of the Soho Loop. Yeah, there's no towpath there. Definitely not. It is quite strange having a towpath on both sides of the canal. It's the first time I've seen that. Look at this brick structure in the middle here. Looks like something out of Lord of the Rings when they're sort of going through on the boats and they go past the Argonath or whatever it is. Even here in the industrial heartland, it's chilled. I'm sure shit does go on down here, but at the moment it's pretty good. So far I'm pleasantly surprised. It's not quite what I was expecting at all. I was expecting all the graffiti and all that kind of stuff. I think I was expecting it to be a little bit more built up here. Maybe it's just hidden by the banks and the trees. I was also expecting the worst in terms of antisocial behaviour and stuff. But it just goes to show, doesn't it? You make assumptions about places with, you know, based on rumour and as I said, I'm sure things do happen here occasionally, like they do anywhere. But if you're living in Birmingham and you haven't explored the canals here yet, why not get out and just see what they're like? You might be pleasantly surprised. Big bridge. Lee Bridge. I wonder how this canal changes as we sort of head further out of the city. It's very samey in some ways. Straight line, graffitied bridges. Winson Green Bridge. On the right over there is Winson Green, Birmingham's prison. I think this is the end, oh it is the end definitely, of the Soho Loop. Looking forward to walking that with Taz. One thing I have noticed here is the good quality of the towpath, at least on this stretch. That's interesting. Wonder if that's a really old closed off canal. There's lots of those kinds of old parts of the canal that have now been built over, closed off, or have simply just overgrown and been lost, and they're still there. Colourful graffiti. Nice. Avery Rail Bridge. Look at those guys. It's pretty awesome, isn't it? There's some really great street art. You see some of it along the canals. But those pictures there, really good. People's creativity and talent always amazes me. I wish I could draw like that. Another weed choked arm. Obviously, used to go into that where that factory is there. It's definitely feeling a bit more built up here. Lots of factories, old and new, and the sounds of, I don't know if you can pick that up on the microphone, but the sounds of some serious industry happening. It'd actually be pretty nice to have someone to walk with on these sorts of canals, I think. If you fancy coming for a walk, drop me a message. This is one of the points where you've got a choice about whether to go along the new or the old route. I'm going to stick with the bottom route at the moment and then come back and do that top bit later, because I want to have a look at the engine arm, which is a bit further up on this side, I think. So I'm going to stick with where I am, and yeah, let's see what happens. Big old heron over there. Even in these industrial areas, the nature's still there. Can you see him just over there? The big one. I think that's a heron. It's either that or a giant seagull. Towpath has changed almost immediately. It's just a well-worn grassy patch here. Maybe I should have crossed over there. On that side there's a better towpath. Well, we'll just see. Probably have to cross over at some point. There's an option, I think, here to go over that bridge. Just going to poke my head around this corner and see what the towpath's like. I might cross over. It's not looking promising. Look at that, proper overgrown, eh? Right, I'm gonna head up over this bridge and go onto that side. It's got a much better towpath. Looks paved anyway, or tarmacked, whatever you want to call it. I think there's actually a boat coming up here. Looks like there might be a way down here. It's not. Right, so this is where the two are running parallel. That side is the old way, I think, and this might be the new way. That's the way I was going to go, so I'm going to stick with the plan and head down there, even though this one's got locks and it looks a lot better. That narrow boat that's coming down, I wonder if it's going to pick this side or that side. That's better. Have a look at the towpath on that side. It's like a jungle. And what do you know? The narrow boat that was coming down is coming down here. Look at that bridge. That's something special, that is. I seem to have gone past the engine arm without even noticing. I think it's on that side which is overgrown as hell. I don't think I'm going to be able to get through that either. Let's go back and have a look. Just somewhere up here. Look, the narrow boat's coming through too. It's saying it's here. I actually think the engine arm might be up there on that bridge. I think that's an aqueduct. God knows how you get up there. Might have to come back and do that one at a later time. We'll see what's further up here, if I can get back up there or not. There's a path here. I think I'm going to explore it. Looks like I was right. Yeah, look, there's the other part of the canal there. The other higher part. We really do run parallel here. And this must be the engine arm. Here. Need to cross over on this little bridge. This old part's definitely more picturesque. Not sure about this engine arm though. Looks a bit grotty. That's the towpath I was just walking along. There's another boat coming. This looks overgrown as well. Some of these less travelled towpaths are just overgrown as hell. Tree roots everywhere. Anyway, that was interesting. Just heading back now, back down to the main towpath. Pushing on towards Smethwick Galton Bridge. Nearly finished for the day. Looking forward to something to eat and drink. As always, it's all I ever go on about, isn't it? Look, here comes the narrow boat. Getting through that tight spot. Let's cross back over here and head down onto the towpath. I'll come back and walk this spot, this length, next week probably, when I meet with Taz to walk the Soho Loop. Might come back this way, along that top part. Back down onto the towpath. That's better. Certainly feels a bit better now that I'm on the main track. That's quite impressive. Water cascading down into the lower canal from the upper one, like a little waterfall. It's amazing how quickly the narrow boats go, really. That blue one is nowhere to be seen. Look at this heron standing on top of the telegraph pole over there. Can you see it? Not sure if you can see it on this camera. I'll get a better shot of him for you. Standing right there on top of that. Looks like something out of It. I think Pennywise is in there. Coming to the end of today's stretch. I'm ending at Smethwick Galton Bridge train station. I'm going to get the train back towards Solihull and then head back out here again next week to meet Taz, do the Soho Loop, and yeah, after that I'm going to do a bigger stretch of this main line. I'm also going to actually, when I come to see Taz, I'm going to do that top bit there, and then on the next walk I want it to be a bigger stretch. I may attempt to upping it to maybe a 10-mile one, and we'll see how far we get on that. I'll have a good look at the maps to see about starting and end points, because obviously that has an influence on the walks that I plan, convenient starting and end points, so we'll see. But I think we're looking at doing a much longer stretch. Housed here in the new Smethwick pumping station, the Canal Museum explores the history of the Galton Valley Canal. It's a bit sinister. I do find it quite eerie, the way sort of dead industry looks. You know, there's a lot of that around Birmingham. You know, old warehouses and factories, you know, these brick-built things that were built in the 17 and 1800s. Now just with plants growing in them and pigeons and rats and God knows what else living in there. It's kind of eerie. People used to go to work there every day and live their lives. Yeah, it kind of freaks me out a little bit. Call me strange if you like. Sloppy porridge water. Not sure what's happened to that narrow boat back there. It hasn't passed, no sight of it. Maybe it got stuck at that point that we saw it at just now. Can see the blue one up there though in that tunnel, or under that bridge rather. Speak of the devil, narrow boats appeared back there, just coming around the bend. So he'll probably pass us in a minute. So we're going to go through under that bridge, and then not long after that I'll come off the towpath and I'll be heading up to the train station, which is nearby. It's a shame there's not been any pubs along this stretch. I mean, obviously there's a bunch of them in sort of around Birmingham and Gas Street Basin, but there's not really been a lot of pubs or stopping points on the last few miles here. I'm sure that will change though as we progress. All right, just approaching Galton Tunnel. I think this is where I'm likely to get off the towpath, but let's go through the tunnel at least and see what's on the other side. Okay, mate. This is the first actual tunnel that I've been through on my 2,000-mile walk so far. All the other tunnels we've come across have been, they've not had a towpath go through them. They were legging tunnels. So this is a bit of a novelty. Very spooky. Especially as there's a homeless person asleep back there. I hope he's asleep anyway. Wow. And as you come out of this tunnel, look at that. These massive bridges. Galton Bridge. That's pretty awesome, gotta say. Let's get a shot of that, eh? Let's get a shot of that. And I think somewhere around here is where I come off. And there's the mouth of the Galton Tunnel. Before I jump on a train, let's go and see if there's a boat coming through. That narrow boat. Yeah, he's just about to, he's just entering the mouth of the tunnel now. Yeah, it's very spooky in that tunnel. That poor homeless person asleep in there. In a sleeping bag in that dark, horrible place. I feel bad for him. Well, that's it for today anyway. I'm going to be hitting the train station in a sec. If you've watched this far, thank you very much for following along. If you want to keep seeing more content, more videos, and how I get on my 2,000-mile walk around Britain's canal networks, click the follow or subscribe button, depending on what you're watching this on, and come along with me.